Joining us now is Michael Froman, Counsel on Foreign Relations President and a former U.S. Trade Representative. Michael will be speaking at APEC next week. Joins me now. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Morgan.
I do want to start with that comment from the Treasury Secretary. It's not communication for communication's sake. I mean, we've seen a flurry of senior Biden administration officials make the trip to go meet with senior Chinese officials this week, all in the name of thawing communications and some of the tensions around the lack of communication. If it's not that, what will it be next week?
Well, I think that's a reflection of the fact that for a long time we had extensive meetings with the Chinese, lots of communication, but very little was produced. And I think what the Biden administration is trying to do is use these communication channels to get some concrete things done. The preparation for the summit, which has now been confirmed, that's happened over the last several months with several U.S. officials going to Beijing, some Chinese officials coming here as well. It's not going to be a meeting that produces some big grand bargain or resolves any of the very significant major issues like Taiwan or the South China Sea. But they hope to make progress on some more modest issues, still modest but important issues, and to create some processes for dealing with the other ones.
It almost feels like there's three interconnected events that are going to happen next week. It's like a Venn diagram of events. You've got the actual APEC forum itself, but then you also have this meeting between the two presidents, which is going to be watched very closely. And then you also have this dinner with business leaders as well. Where are we going to see the most meaningful, whether it's policy or whether it's commentary or something else, where are we going to see the most meaningful transactions happen?
Well, I think the key question will be whether the bilateral summit between Biden and Xi succeeds in drawing a line under the relationship and conveying a sense of stability in the relationship going into next year. Next year is very important. You've got Taiwanese elections in January, our own elections in November. China is likely to play a role. The China issue is likely to play a role in both of those. I think both leaders have an interest in trying to create mechanisms of stability going into what otherwise could be a volatile year. So I would keep my eye on that meeting in particular.
Okay. From the business standpoint and corporate America standpoint, and we have seen this rising geopolitical risk. We've seen concerns around doing business in China or continuing to invest in China, perhaps even some pullbacks from some companies and some leaders as well. Is this situation next week going to help calm those fears, or is this a dynamic that is secular in nature and going to continue?
You know, China has asked the U.S. to clarify how it intends to use export controls and screens on foreign investment, which I think is a legitimate ask, and we're doing that. I think at the same time, we should be asking China to clarify how they intend to implement their data and anti-espionage laws, because on one hand, they're trying to attract American CEOs and American companies to come back to China, to invest more in China. On the other hand, they're detaining foreign executives and they're raiding their offices in China, and that's sending a very chilling signal back to American business. So some clarification, and I would hope coming out of the summit meeting, there could be at least some agreement to a process where China would clarify how it intends to implement and enforce these laws that are having a chilling effect on the U.S. business community.
And of course, we're having this conversation and the focus is on China, but the stakes have never been higher on the world stage in the sense that the U.S. is on the verge next week of a government shutdown at the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, maybe we get a continuing resolution. You have this perceived stalemate of sorts in Ukraine with Russia right now. And then, of course, a hot war between Israel and Gaza with inflammatory rhetoric out of Iran, with strikes on American bases and other parts of the Middle East that's threatening to expand in terms of the size of the conflict. How does all of this come together to sort of give the picture of the geopolitical landscape that we're living in right now and what this is and what this does to this discussion between these two countries?
Well, as you said, Morgan, I think we're facing the most complex international environment that we've faced in perhaps 75 years right now. And I think how it relates to what's going to go on in San Francisco next week is that this is an opportunity for President Biden and the United States to demonstrate that it is engaged, that it's committed to being a leader in the Asia-Pacific region, even while wars are raging in Europe and in the Middle East. And there's several other issues on the U.S. agenda. So it's the capacity to show that the U.S. is a leader. We are a Pacific nation, and we're committed to working with our partners and allies in the region to ensure that they have all the support that they need.